Call to order the September meeting for the town of Shandaken. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, George.
Board Member Bernstein. Board Member Higley.
Here.
Board Member Malloy.
Here.
Board Member Storms. Here. Supervisor Stanley.
Here. I'd entertain a motion to approve last month's town board meeting minutes.
Second that.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Supervisor financial report. Supervisor report, August 2014. Ulster County sales tax, $27,858.86. Highway interest, $25.39. Highway chips, $59,714.27. Ambulance fees, $1,431.91. Ambulance donations, $100. Police fees, $30. Phoenicia Library rent, $300. Permit code officers, $130. Building permit fees, $845. Town clerk fees, $112.67. Dog licenses, $95.50. Fuel reimbursement, $11,678.90. Barron's Cell Tower, $865.07. Shandaken Day vendors, $520. Worker comp reimbursement, $8,172.29. For a total of $111,879.86. Communications for the month of August 2014, Shandaken Day. First, I'd like to thank everyone that made this year's event in Big Indian another success. And I would be remiss if I did not give a huge thank you to Tina, Willie, and Danny Rice for all the hard work and personal time they committed to help make the event a success year after year. The day started a little damp, but cleared up as the day progressed. If you did not make it to the event, we had our usual kids games and live music provided by the band Wild Blue, who were fantastic to work with. Special thanks to Evan Pritchett and Mary Lou Stapleton for bringing along some friends and enlightening our hearts and minds with Native American songs and tributes throughout the morning. One of the biggest highlights of the day had to be the unveiling of our first official Town of Shandaken information kiosk. The kiosk was constructed with help from the Shandaken Highway Department, Hugh Hurst, John and Jay Michelotti, Brian Perez, Brian Grant, Bill McDowell, Mike Wetland, Robert Calb, Gary Gales, and the Big Indian Market, and myself and Councilman People. Dave Chan did the artwork on the panels, which were vetted over several meetings of the kiosk committee. Please take a moment to stop by at Big Indian Park and check out this new resource, which we hope will inform visitors and locals on everything we have to offer here in Shandaken. We still have some finishing touches, but for all intents and purposes, the kiosk is complete. Our next one will be placed on Main Street, Pine Hill over the next few weeks. The kiosk is paid through a smart growth grant provided through the New York State DEC. We have a resolution tonight to allow us a one-year extension on the grant, which allows us to continue getting reimbursed for these costs until we complete all of the kiosks. New this year, we also partnered with our friends from the Central Catskill Chamber of Commerce in Margaretville and created the Getaway Giveaway, which was a huge success. From data provided on the raffle tickets, we are now able to create a database of attendees in order to send out notifications for future regional events such as Shandaken Day. The prizes were fantastic, and thanks to the many local businesses that donated something to our event. On a final note, for years, we have moved Shandaken Day around the town to educate people on the vastness of our township and provide every community a chance to host the event. Myself and other organizers over the years can attest which have been our most successful event locations, and by far Big Indian Park is the best location for everyone involved, including the vendors we try to attract each year. We are mulling over the idea of landing the event permanently in Big Indian, but still staying true to circulating the hamlets to be recognized each year. We think this will be beneficial long-term for the event and simplify many aspects of the event. Please talk to any one of your town board members and let us know your opinion. Employees. The town has several resolutions concerning employment with the town tonight. Sadly, my confidential secretary had to leave for personal reasons. I am now in need of a full-time secretary for the office. The position pays $10.55 an hour for 35 hours a week and eligible for benefits after 3 months. I hope to fill this position as soon as possible. Police Chief Story and the commissioners conducted interviews last week and have selected 4 officers to join us on a part-time basis. We are also welcoming back an old friend to help us, as former Chief McGrath will be appointed tonight to join the Police Commissioners Board, so welcome back, Jim. The ambulance department is hiring another driver, Alicia Schnack of Big Indian, to assist the department. And lastly, due to my mother's passing, we had an opening as Glenbrook Park Manager, and Kathy Williams will be appointed tonight to fill out the remainder of her term, which expires in December of 2016. Campaign signage. We have our annual memorializing resolution asking residents to not place any campaign signage out until the Columbus Day weekend. Of course, there is a primary taking place tomorrow, so we hope that those signs will be removed Wednesday following that special vote. Zoning change. The town is looking at zoning along Main Street and Pine Hill. The entire south side of Main Street is zoned Hamlet Commercial, while on the north side, only a few parcels by Elm Street are zoned commercial, with the majority of parcels Hamlet residential. The proposal, as supported through recommendation of the Town Planning Board, is to rezone the entire north side of Main Street from the Maple Avenue extension to Academy Street as Hamlet Commercial as well. This only makes sense considering that many of the structures on the north side of the street were used historically as commercial and have retained a historic commercial aesthetic. We are planning a public hearing on this matter to be held just prior to next month's regularly scheduled board meeting. New York Rising. We were asked by the New York Rising representative to adopt a resolution to allow us to be a sub-recipient through the state for $3 million funds for flood mitigation projects. Due to timing and several concerns raised by the town attorney, we will not be adopting the resolution to move this forward at this time. We hope these issues will be resolved within the coming month and anticipate a resolution on the matter for next month's meeting. Budget. We're starting to work on the budget, and as usual, many of the figures are not yet available. Some of the preliminary figures for retirement are looking better than they have in the past, as the state is starting to accrue some returns on their investments. Our largest concerns are over the cost of health care, insurance, and recycling, which I have a meeting to attend later this week concerning changes in their billing and contract with the town. We are also concerned with standard cost increases for materials across the board. We will be losing a revenue line once the Phoenicia Library moves into their new digs back on Main Street shortly. And there is no hard or soft numbers on what we can anticipate. But be assured that the town will work diligently to keep any tax increases to a bare minimum, as we have demonstrated these past few years. I will be releasing a tentative budget toward the end of the month, which will be considered at our next month's board meeting. And with that, I have one more thing to say, but that'll be an introduction for our presenters tonight. If anybody else has any other announcements, I defer to the board.
Do you want to finish this one? No?
Just
I see, I
say-
get you, Okay. Okay. The Disaster Response and Recovery Committee of Ulster County needs a local group of motivated citizens to prepare for any future event that might require emergency response. If you have any expertise in any of the following areas, or you just feel a desire to pitch in, please join us for our plenary session at the St. Francis de Sales Parish Hall on Main Street, Phoenicia, on Tuesday, September 30th at 5:30 p.m. Suggested areas of focus will be sheltering, feeding, coordinating of volunteer efforts, communication, animal response, access to services for our most vulnerable population. So if you're interested in that, call our office or just stop by that day. Okay, so local events coming up. Saturday, September 13th, Martin Joseph will be at in concert at Empire State Railway Museum. Sunday, September 14th, 10 to noon, will be the Stream Walk in Chichester by the Ashokian Watershed Stream Management, Warner Creek. Parks and Rec Picnic Fundraiser at the Emerson will be Sunday, September 14th at noon. Stop by the clerk's office or ask Alfred Higley for a ticket. Have you sold any yet?
I told a few.
Okay, good. Any of the board members have the tickets also.
I was gonna say, while you're sitting
I
there,
know,
yeah, we
he's
are.
telling me he's having a hard time selling.
I got tickets.
He's having a hard time selling. Tuesday, September 16th, 3 to 6:30 is the Brooks Barbecue fundraiser. hosted by the Football Boosters. It's a fundraiser for Hannah Lau, who's still in critical condition. Contact the clerk's office for tickets. Friday, September 19th, Phoenicia School is celebrating its 50th year. All welcome to enjoy their events planned. Bring your family and picnic supper. They will unearth the time capsule, and the PTA will provide dessert and lemonade, rain or shine. Pancake breakfast fundraiser, Saturday, September 20th, 8 to 11, the Phoenicia Fish and Game Club. And I make these short because all these things are listed on Channel 23, thanks to Ellen. And they're also on our website, shandaken.us, and our Facebook page, and also in the information booth on Main Street in Phoenicia by Key Bank. There you go. That's it.
Juice. Anybody else have any? Okay. Well, with that, lastly, but certainly not least, we have several representatives from the newly hired town engineering firm of Malone and Broom. They are here tonight to give us an introduction to a flood mitigation action that we are initiating to address flood levels in the hamlets of Phoenicia and Mount Tremper. Yes, pay attention, Rick, thank you. They will be seeking input at subsequent meetings that will take place within those specific hamlets, and by next summer, hope to compile a list of projects and funding sources to start implementation of whatever project or projects are the most effective and cost efficient. This project is paid for through a grant provided by the Ashokan Watershed Stream Management Program and the New York City DEP. If all goes well with this project, we anticipate doing similar projects in other hamlets of the town in the future. Tonight is more of an introduction, but Mark, Janine, and the rest of the team are more than willing to investigate every option provided to them over the next coming months. This is a very open and public process that will play out over the winter and into next spring. They will return to a town board meeting toward the close of the project to present their findings. And with that, I'd like to introduce Mark Carabetta and Janine Gowan. I'm sorry, Sarah.
It's okay, I'll do some introductions as we get underway. Now, I am going to project there.
Yeah, we're going to have to get up and move.
Yeah, I think that'd be best.
I'm sure that'll cost them too, but we got
Unless you want it projected right. And I could, try to slide over this way maybe so I don't stand in front of everyone.
I've never had a gavel before. This could be fun.
How's that? All right. Hopefully I won't be standing in your way here. I might be in your way.
No, you're good, you're good.
Okay, well, thank you, Robert, and thank you to the town board for that nice introduction. And we're going to, as Robert said, we're going to give an introduction to the local flood analysis. I'll introduce my colleagues as we go along. I have some maps that people are welcome to come and take a closer look at once I've finished the presentation. So we use the space bar. So I'll just briefly explain. Hold on a second. I missed the slide. Isn't there another one on there?
Yeah, there is.
Okay, hold on a second. Excuse me. Somehow lost the slide. Nope. That's weird. We somehow lost the slide. Anyways, it was going to say, yeah, why don't I take it?
paper copies.
I was just going to explain what I'm going to say in the presentation, which is step through the LFA process. LFA stands for Local Flood Analysis. I was going to introduce our project team, explain the process of public meetings that we're going to go through, review the study areas, which I'll have on the screen and are also up here on these maps, which people are welcome to come look at afterwards. Introduce some of the hydraulic modeling concepts that we'll use to do this study, and then discuss potential flood mitigation strategies. I'll give you some examples of the types of strategies we've looked at in other communities. So something about the flood analysis process. It's a standardized process. It's a uniform process that we've used across many communities, but we're able to customize it to each community, fit the needs of each individual place, because flooding characteristics and the types of streams vary from place to place. What we do is we go into the community and we collect input about flooding and flood damage from property owners, municipal officials, and other stakeholders in the town. We build upon existing information such as FEMA flood models, the Ulster County Hazard Mitigation Plan, and the town of Shandaken has a specific hazard mitigation plan that was developed for this town. So we build on all that information. We identify and evaluate potential flood mitigation measures that also protect water quality. And then through hydraulic modeling, we're able to assess how much flood relief is associated with different strategies that we try out. We refine these alternatives through the process of with the Safari Committee and with the town board to refine the alternatives and zero it down to the ones that really show some benefit, and then consider the cost of those and do a benefit cost analysis, and then the final product is an implementation plan.
There's your slide.
There it is. So anyways, that's what I said. They got switched around somehow. I don't know how. So why are we working in Shandaken, and specifically in the hamlets of Phoenicia and Mount Tremper? And I know I don't have to say this to a lot of you, but both areas have been devastated by flooding, and which has resulted in extensive damage, not just in Irene and Lee, but previously. Critical infrastructure and businesses remain vulnerable, homes as well. It is located within the New York City public water supply watershed, and the funding that's been provided for the LFA provides a unique opportunity to assess the watershed under current conditions and also plan for the future. Of course, when areas are flooded, it also results in water quality issues. There's not just flood damage, but if cars are flooded, if gas stations are flooded, people's storage tanks, it affects water quality downstream as well. A lot of repercussions of flooding. As many of you probably know, this committee has been formed called Safari. It's the Shandaken Area Flood Assessment and Remediation Initiative. I know we have a few members here this evening from Safari. I've been working closely with them, and this group is instrumental in working with us as the consultants on stepping through this process. I've listed some of the committee members and groups here on the slide. This is Mylona McBroom's team for this project. A few people are here with me tonight. Janine Gowan, who's the principal in charge of the project. My name's Mark Carabetta. I'm the project manager. And Vernon Bevan, who's one of our hydraulic modelers. And we have a list of other people here who will be involved as well.
And that's what that says?
Yeah, it's a little small.
Okay. I think it's just names.
Names of people, yeah, and their areas of expertise. We have hydraulic modelers. We have people whose specialty is benefit cost analysis. We have people who specialize in the actual analysis of flood mitigation alternatives, and then we have a technical support team. So this is I'm going to step through the process for our meetings, our public meetings. We're starting with this kickoff meeting tonight, an introduction and overview of the local flood analysis to the town board and members of the public. And here's what happens next. We have, and Rob described this in the introduction, we're doing the flood analysis in the communities of Mount Tremper and Phoenicia in parallel. Now, the meetings won't be on the same night, but at a similar time, we're going to have a public meeting in Phoenicia and a public meeting in Mount Tremper. At that meeting, we'll have large-scale maps. We'll present an overview such as this one to the attendees, and we'll gather information about flooding and property damage in those towns and that in those areas, and that's informative to us and helps us with the process as we go along. Then we'll go back to our office. We'll do a lot of hydraulic analysis, field work, and when we have some alternatives, flood mitigation alternatives, we'll come back to those same two communities and we'll present our preliminary results and also gather feedback on that, on those first set of flood mitigation strategies. After that, we'll come back to a meeting such as this and we'll present our analysis and results to the town board. We'll give the board a chance to provide feedback. In addition to this process, I'll continue to meet with the Safari group and get their input. We've laid out these steps. It is important that there's room for flexibility in here. There's a lot of back and forth and iterations, but what we end up with in the end is the most feasible alternatives, conducting a benefit cost analysis, and then putting all that final information into a final report. Yes?
Is it only these two towns, the villages, it's not the rest of the town incorporated into this or anything?
Right, at this point, it's these two hamlets.
That's it?
Yeah, yeah. And as Rob said in the introduction, if this goes well, there may be opportunities to do this in other places. But this is where we start. So here's project area number 1. It is Phoenicia. You see here is Esopus Creek that runs down like this. I know you can't tell on this map. And this is Stony Clove coming in here. A lot of flooding in Phoenicia here. And that'll be the first area that we're studying within the purple boundary. That's the project area. And as I said, there's closer maps up here, and you can come up and look at them in more detail later. This is the second area, Mount Tremper. So Esopus Creek comes down here, and this is the Beaver Kill coming in, and Mount Tremper, and that's the second area within that purple line that we'll be looking at. I know this is hard to see, but this is I wanted to give you some examples of the hydraulic modeling. It's called HEC-RAS. So hydraulic modeling, it's a pretty standard hydraulic modeling software. It's used by the Army Corps of Engineers. In fact, it was developed by the Army Corps of Engineers. And this is Esopus Creek, all the way from the top, all the way down to the outlet. And you can see these lines going across it. Those are cross sections. And the model is made up of cross sections. This is an example of one of those cross sections. I've just provided it as an example. And in future meetings, we'll get into this much more. And this is just if you slice the stream in half and you were standing here looking downstream. So this is just a cross section of the river and the floodplain and the whole area that gets inundated in a big storm. This is the actual channel. And these lines, the blue lines, represent different magnitude floods. And using this model, we're able to replicate existing conditions and look at what happens in some of these bigger storms. And then we're able to run different scenarios. If we were to make a wider channel or create a floodplain bench or other scenarios that we're able to try as flood mitigation alternatives that with the goal of reducing these flood elevations. And then we're able to go in and test these scenarios and see how well they work. And we'll find that Some seem like good ideas at the start, but in fact they don't work very well. And others, hopefully, will result in a decrease in flood elevations and hopefully being able to remove certain parts of these hamlets or certain buildings, take them out of the floodplain or reduce flooding of certain structures, take the flooding from above a first floor elevation to down below a first floor elevation, which is sometimes very important. These are the types of goals we'll be trying to attain. This is looking at the modeling from a different perspective. This is in profile. So this is upstream and this is downstream. You can see the three bridges, Woodland Valley Road, Route 28, and Bridge Street. And you can see the different magnitude floods represented by the blue lines. Some of them are even overtopping the bridges as you go downstream there. And again, I included these in examples. We'll get more into this in future meetings as we go along in the process. I just wanted to show you some examples of what we're working with. Now, these circles are the 6 sort of categories of types of flood mitigation. And on the next 2 slides, I'll give more specific examples. Some of these are the types of things that we'll be looking at as we go forward. They include structural projects that may involve the replacement of a bridge, the removal of a bridge, the creation of flood levees, the removal of flood levees or dams, actual structural changes in the watershed. The second category is property protection. This might involve elevating structures, flood-proofing structures, flood prevention, which relates to zoning, and reducing impervious cover in the watershed, those types of strategies. The next 3 categories, protection of natural resources, so that's acquisition of properties that may be in the floodplain, restoring areas of floodplain, improvement of emergency services, and then public education about flooding. So these are the 6 main components that make up the types of flood mitigation